What's fantastic is, as a product designer, to be able not just to do the product and the interior, but also to do the envelope for a project. And I think, coming from a product design background, we can look on architecture in a completely different way, from a different lens.
You had a very particular design. You guys talked about. If you showcase this, it's very different from what everyone else did. Yours looks more like a cabin. Can you talk a little bit about, number one, the vision, number two, the venues where this would be apropos to be putting in, and just elucidating those points, please.
The idea that you could have an extendable box that could sit in almost any situation and take on any function is what appealed to me. So it's just a container for different types of living and working and respite, and would occupy any piece of land. So in a way, just having such a broad canvas is quite difficult. But what we lent on was some slightly traditional forms of architecture, of temporary buildings, of traditional buildings. We like the idea that you were from the other side of the world and there was a different architecture there. And then recasting some of those traditional forms of making things in wood in an industrial product. So this little model here is to show a bit the idea of oriental forms of woodwork translated into metal. So it's really about the ease of assembly of the object. So this would be a column for the building, and this would be a beam. And you'd really be able to assemble the building really quite quickly by using some of the traditionally evolved forms of carpentry that were used in house building in Japan and the Philippines and Indonesia, for instance, right? So these things very quickly lock together to form a very strong structure in a way that almost anybody could build a house, right? And then by using some more industrially produced elements that are familiar from scaffolding and various other things, is to adjust it to the terrain and get a level pegging using, instead of hardwood, using an industrially produced extrusion, right? We become designers of the system, and the customer becomes the architect of their own requirement. The structure was really important to us, and the flat packability. So that's where the kind of slightly more industrial design thinking comes in, where not only are these very effective, very light, and very weatherproof, structurally strong, they also potentially provide conduits for services through the structure as well. For me, the interesting thing for that is the fact that we're trying to avoid having a very specific site. The fact that the panels themselves, the infills, can really make it into something which is completely unique every time.